Welcome to this explainer. Look, if you're planning a trip to Istanbul, you've undoubtedly seen the photos of Balat. I mean, with those brightly colored houses, the historic streets, and that vibrant cafe culture, it's an absolute must-see, right? But here's the catch. Istanbul is a massive, sprawling metropolis, and trying to figure out how to actually get to this specific, historic enclave, well, it can be incredibly confusing for first-time visitors. But don't worry, because today we're going to fix all of that. I'm going to turn you from a stressed-out tourist into a totally savvy local, effortlessly navigating the complex transit web straight to the heart of Balat. So grab your notepad, because we're mapping out exactly how to get there. Okay, let's dive into this. Here is the traveler's journey we are going to map out together today. 1. Where is Balat? 2. The essential Istanbulkart. 3. Routes from major hubs. 4. Arriving by water. 5. Navigating the neighborhood. And finally, 6. Mistakes to avoid. Section 1. Where is Balat? Let's frame the geographic location of our destination first, before we figure out how to actually get there. To start us off, I really want to ask you a question that almost every single traveler punches into their phone when they decide to visit. Is there a metro station in Balat? You know, it seems like a completely logical assumption for a major global city, right? Well, this actually brings us to the absolute biggest misconception about traveling to this historic neighborhood. The answer is a resounding no. There is no metro inside the neighborhood itself. Balat actually sits on the western shore of the Golden Horn, which is the inlet it borders, wedged right in the Fatih district. To put that into perspective, it's about 5 kilometers northwest of Sultanahmet, sitting pretty close to the old Theodosian land walls. The biggest takeaway here, every single route to Balat is going to end on foot. To make sure you're heading to the right place, all you need to do is search Balat Fatih on your offline Google Maps to pin your starting point. Section 2. Essential. The Istanbulkart. Let's talk about the crucial pre-trip preparation. Before you even think about heading out on your trip to Balat, you absolutely must get your hands on an Istanbulkart. Basically, it's a rechargeable travel card that works seamlessly across every single tram, bus, ferry, metro, and funicular in the whole city. You can just buy one from a machine at any station or from a kiosk, load a handful of rides on it, and literally just tap on. But here is the critical reason why you need this. Trips to Balat very often involve transfers, and with the Istanbulkart, transfers made within a 2-hour window are deeply, deeply discounted. A tram plus bus trip will end up costing little more than just a single ride. Single-use tokens are noticeably more expensive, so trust me, this card pays for itself almost immediately. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it shifts our focus to the wider city transit map and the specific solutions it offers. Section 3. Routes from major hubs. Let's start with the most popular tourist hub of them all, Sultanahmet. It takes roughly 30 minutes to get to Balat from here, and the absolute cleanest route just uses 2 trams. First, you hop on the T1 tram from Sultanahmet, heading towards Eminonu, which is just about 4 stops away. Now, Eminonu is the main transit interchange on the historic peninsula. Once you hop off there, you simply walk right under the Galata Bridge over to the Golden Horn side to find your second tram, the T5. You ride that T5 Golden Horn tram straight to the Fener or Balat stop, and then you just walk uphill. It is a super simple, completely actionable, and highly efficient route. Now, if you aren't staying in Sultanahmet, consider this your ultimate cheat sheet. Seriously, you might want to pause the explainer right here to save these. If you're in Taksim, the easiest single ride is the 55T bus, which takes about 20 to 25 minutes. If you're already hanging out at the Eminonu hub, you're just 15 minutes away via the T5 tram or the ferry. Coming all the way from Katakoy on the Asian side, just take the ferry across the Bosphorus to Eminonu, then catch the T5. And if you are coming straight from the airports, either IST or Sabiha Gökçen, you'll be taking airport buses or the M4 metro first to reach those central hubs before transferring. The whole network is beautifully connected as long as you know exactly which lines to look for. Now, I know some of you might be looking at those transfers and thinking, ugh, can I just grab a taxi? Well, you can, but let's compare the two options for a second. Public transit, using the trams and ferries, gives you cheap, flat fares and, this is huge, completely bypasses Istanbul's notorious street traffic. Taxis, or apps like Bataxi, sure, they might cost you 15 to 30 minutes in really light traffic, but at rush hour in Taksim or Sultanahmet, they will absolutely crawl. You'll literally be sitting in traffic, paying a premium, and the worst part? A taxi can't even take you very far into Balat anyway, because the streets are so narrow, steep, and often one way. You're just going to get dropped off at the bottom of the hill regardless. Save your sanity, stick to the transit. Section 4. Arriving by water. Let's talk about the most scenic way to get there. Yes, you absolutely can reach Balat by ferry, and let me tell you, it is fantastic. The Golden Horn, or Halleck ferry line, glides right up the inlet, passing the stunning old waterfront and those ancient city walls. It makes stops at Eminonu, Kasımpaşa, Fener, Balat, Ayvansaray, and Eyüp. It's an incredibly gorgeous ride. But, putting my insider authority hat on for a second here, I have to issue a serious warning. These Golden Horn ferries are way less frequent than the busy Bosphorus boats. You absolutely 100% must check the Seer Hotlari timetable online first. Whatever you do not just show up at the dock and count on a boat arriving the second you get there. So the crucial point is really captured perfectly by this tip from photographer Sam Whitfield. He says, and I quote, "Take the T5 tram or the ferry, never a taxi if you can help it, hop off at Fener one stop early to walk into Balat through the prettiest streets instead of the main road." I love this because this is exactly the kind of exclusive knowledge that separates the savvy travelers from the everyday tourists. Fener and Balat are adjacent stops on the line, and hopping off early at Fener gives you, hands down, the most spectacular walking entrance into the neighborhood. And this brilliantly illustrates our next point, as we zoom in from those wide transit maps right down to the cobblestone streets. Section 5. Navigating the neighborhood. Okay, the moment you step off that tram or ferry, you are going to need what I like to call the Balat survival kit. First, as we already hammered home, your fully loaded Istanbulkart for the trip back. Second, offline Google Maps. I cannot stress this enough, the lanes in Balat are an absolute maze, and your cell phone signal is very likely to just drop out between those old historic buildings. Download the map before you leave your hotel. And third, perhaps most importantly, you need actual, comfortable shoes for the climb. So why the shoes? Well, because Babolat might be small and completely made for walking, but it is genuinely, seriously steep. From the shore road, just getting up to those famous colorful houses is a 7 to 10 minute climb on authentic, uneven cobbles. Honestly, it is not an easy neighborhood for wheelchairs, dragging heavy luggage, or pushing strollers around. But hey, don't let that deter you. That steepness is exactly what gives it its historic charm. Just take the hills slowly, wear proper footwear, and playfully treat yourself by stopping for an amazing Turkish coffee the absolute second your legs start to complain. Section 6. Mistakes to avoid. Let's save you some time, money, and frustration. Okay, let's rapid-fire summarize the top rookie errors we've covered today so you don't fall into these tourist traps. Number 1. Assuming there's a metro to Balat. There isn't. Remember, use the T5 tram, a bus, or a ferry. Number 2. Winging the Golden Horn ferry schedule without checking the Seher Hotlari timetable first. Big mistake. Number 3. Taking a taxi at rush hour from Taksim or Sultanahmet. You'll sit in traffic, burning money when a flat fare tram would have beaten it by a mile. And finally, number 4. Getting off at the Balat stop instead of using our photographer's trick of getting off one stop early at Fener to walk in through those gorgeous, picturesque streets. Solidify these superior alternatives in your mind. I'm going to leave you with this final, provocative thought. If you had to choose between fighting crazy city traffic in a stressful taxi just to get dropped off at the bottom of a steep hill anyway, or using your newly loaded Istanbulkart for a stunning, completely traffic-free ferry ride, or a smooth tram ride along the beautiful Golden Horn, which kind of traveler will you be? Well, you are now officially armed with all the insider transit knowledge you could possibly need. You are prepared, you are empowered, and you are totally ready to conquer Balat like a true local. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and hey, enjoy every single historic, colorful cobblestone step of your journey